of international organization. Because when we say international organization, the first thing that comes to our mind is of United Nations as an international organization. However, there are many other organizations that we may call as international organizations or institutions that, in a way, directly or indirectly, are serving the purpose of their creation, that was to have to create peace and to make efforts for sustainable peace. So the development of international or institution is considered to be one of the most admirable effort for the achievement of world peace. And the purpose was that after First World War, when the nation states leaders, they sat together to decide the future course of international relations. They unanimously decided of establishing an international organization for promotion of peace and security. But the creation of League of Nations as an international organization was dominated by European powers, so it is considered to be a failure on the part of you know European powers, and how they were dominating it, and were deciding various matters bilateral, and um, signing treaties with other countries outside the boundaries of that international organization. However, when Second World War ended, the decision of establishing United Nations organization was one, though its most of its patron was that of League of Nations, but it in a way is sustaining or making an attempt to establish peace, security, or sustainable, trying to for sustainable peace. The world, as you know, saw many wars even after the creation of United Nations, alongside many regional organizations, NGOs, IGOs. But we can claim that since it possesses many of the qualities of liberalist ideals, all these international organizations, but it has not fulfilled its aim to make international community a more peaceful place for a human being, for to avoid conflicts, to avoid wars, so on and so forth. So, what do the theorists say about international organizations? Or, to be more specific, we are not restricting it to international organizations for the moment. If we call it an organization that was or is established for a purpose, organization theorists, especially from sociology, they provide insight relevant to studying international organization as organization, because they are created to solve problems. Now, problems can be some disputed area that might lead to a conflict or war. Its purpose basically is to solve problems that require collaborative actions. They are not just mechanical tools doing what their founder envisioned, like what happened with League of Nations, which was founded by European nations alongside United States. but it was a failure because of their domination. So, organization thus develop mechanism for learning a new development in the environment. They search for means of action and to decide what problems can and should be solved. And we have many examples after the end of Second World War, where in few cases, United Nations has been successful in resolving the issue or the problem, and in many cases, which still are lingering on, we may claim that it has failed. Organization theorists then see organizations as open systems that are, continually responding to environment, developing and changing goals through negotiations among dominant coalitions and utilizing various technologies. So from this we can, draw four concepts from organization theories, which are particularly useful for studying not only in international organizations, but international governmental organizations, non-governmental organizations, and MNCs. And these are organizational cultures, organizational adaptation and learning, or organizational relations and networks, which are very important to understand the theory of international organization. Now, international organizations, if are to be divided, then first we have intergovernmental organizations, that is IGOs, and those can be global as well as regional. And the second one is non governmental organizations. Again, they can be global as well as regional. So, common characteristics of both these international organizations would be: number one, a permanent organization to carry on continuing set of functions. It at the time of its establishment set certain standards, rules for itself, so they are to carry on those set of functions. Then voluntary membership of eligible parties. Now here, if we are to talk about United Nations, eligible parties would be the sovereign states. So, and that membership again is voluntary. Whoso or whichever country wants to be a member of United Nations, if it is a sovereign state, it can opt for or opt out of this choice. Then organizations are a basic improvement have basic improvement stating goals, structure, and method of operation. They have also a broadly representative consultative conference organs like United Nations. If you we are to examine, it has various bodies and sub bodies to look after various issues. A permanent secretariat to carry on continuous administrative research and information function. Now, chief function of international organization is to provide the means of cooperation among states in areas in which cooperation provide advantages for all or for a large number of nations. Now, that again can be debated, because if it is established for cooperation among state, that cooperation which provides advantages should be enjoyed by all members of the uh, United Nations or any international organization, and it should not be limited to a large number of nations. Then if we are to discuss sub-functions of international organization, that is to provide multiple channels of communication among governments so that areas accommodation may be explored and any access will be available when problems arise. Those most probably will be the channels of diplomacy and peaceful settlement. And yesterday we discussed the relationship between uh, diplomacy and peace, or the dependence of peace on diplomacy, which included dialogue, negotiations, mediation, and arbitration, and many other tools as well. And in addition, UN specialized agencies and regional organizations, they provide multiple and continuous contact points through which accommodation can be exercised. Now, till as of now, I would say there are 194 nations that are member to United Nations. There are 300 intergovernmental organizations and 5,000 or more non-governmental organizations that are operating in international system. And almost all the later ones have been established in the past century, mostly after the end of Second World War, as we just discussed. Some of the regional organizations that comes to our mind right now can be, if we are to talk about international governmental organization, and as I said, there are regional and global international regional organization. So the regional IGOs, very prominent ones are ASEAN, a European Union, Organization of African Unity, League of Arab States, OPEC, NATO, and many others. The global ones are, as I said, was League of Nations, then UN, Universal Postal Union, International Telegram Union, World Health Organization, World Trade Organizations, and then in the past, we also have read about the Concert of Europe. NGO divided again into global and regional organizations are again of different kinds. For example, global NGOs that are very famous. One of them is Doctors Without Borders, Friends of Earth, Journalists Without Borders, Amnesty International, and Human Rights Watch. The regional ones, I would say, are part of some of the global NGOs for regional functions. And those are UN accredited NGOs and Millennium Forums, for example, peace, security, and disarmament, the eradication of poverty, provision of basic human rights, sustainable development and environment, challenges for the globalization, and at the same time strengthening of UN through these regional organizations. Now, if we are to take war as the end of or a conflict transforming, not resolved by peace and transforming into war, then we will define it or explain it in two terms. First one is a state policy, and then paramount evil to be eliminated. And there are many theorists who have, worked on these issues related to war. For example, Plato, Aristotle, St. Augustine, Thomas Aquinas, Hugo Grotius, and when it comes to paramount evil to be eliminated, Confucius comes to our mind, Norman Angel, William Penn, Jeremy Bentham, Hobson, and many others. Then universalist world government again has been discussed by or taken into account by theorists like Immanuel Kant. So there are many theorists who have they examined the issue under the lens of different theories. For example, Plato says that state should not neglect its military defense, but the ideal state would be an isolated, self-sufficient unit with a little dependence on the rest of the world as possible. And that, we may say, is not possible because currently no state can live in isolation, and for cooperation a state has to depend on another country, or the interaction between states should be interdependent. Aristotle, on the other hand, says, and he generally opposed war except in self-defense, but because he believed that some people were suited only to serve as slaves, so he justified the conquest of inferior people. Now, here the realist theory or realist school of thought comes to my mind, in which there are two sub-schools, offensive realism and defensive realism. And Mearsheimer, as a defensive realist, he believes in maximization of state power, and also stated that a state, if see any threat from its rival, should be aggressive, or should in a way take the first step to eliminate that threat. On the other hand, defensive realists believe in maximization of power to defend themselves, to avoid a threat. But in many cases, if we see the application of defensive and offensive realism, we may say that United States of America, that has been claiming as a country that has the responsibility to take a leading role in international relations, we can say that in most cases, both these theories apply on United Nations, defensive as well as offensive. Defensive in case of Afghanistan, and offensive in case of Iraq. Because in Iraq, it said that there are weapons of mass destruction. The United States wanted regime change, and it was not peace could not be achieved um, as long as Saddam Hussein was the ruler. So, despite international organization like United Nations, the United States unanimously or unilaterally attacked Iraq. Until date, we have to see peace in Afghanistan. In case of Afghanistan, since it was attacked by a terrorist group and international non-state actor, so it had to eliminate it. So it went into Afghanistan to eliminate terrorism, but it left Afghanistan still in chaos. Now, St. Augustine, he disapproved of war of conquest, but accepted war of defense. Here again, we can see the streaks of, in these theories that I earlier mentioned about of Aristotle and now St. Augustine. There we feel that that defensive and offensive realism exists in their thoughts. So he disapproved of war of conquest but accepted war of defense. And the church during the Middle Ages generally accepted war under certain conditions. For example, war against infidels were approved, but among Christians were undesirable. So you see, this again takes us to that clash of identity, being religion as one of the identity in this case, where the war was to be avoided, it was undesirable with Christians, but the infidels or the war with infidels was accepted or encouraged. Thomas Aquinas, he accepted war or acceptance of war is inhuman, but crusaders. So you see, they are in a way supporting war. It is not that they were against war. So how can we say that peace could be achieved even at that time or during the era of these theorists, when there was a certain pattern of alliance, or there were alliances which acted as supporting each other against aggression. Even then, war could not be avoided, because in many cases, or in all these cases, one state was the aggressor. Immanuel Kant, if we take his view, so main element of him, a federation open to voluntarily membership of any state, a congress to settle disputes, no standing armies, free movement from one country to another country. This is more liberal, I think, school of thought. Correct me if I'm wrong, because he's asking for a federation which we may say that it was kind of a proposal for international organization, and each state had to opt for membership or opt out of it. And this federation was supposed to, or the Congress was supposed to, settle disputes, and that countries should not have standing armies, and there should be free movement of people, trade from one country to another. Then another theorist is Richard Cobden. His suggestion is interdependence of state, universal organizations that are not limited to Christian ruler, and promotion of trade. So we see those liberal streaks in his theory as well. Now, another important, aspect for international peace and development is integration or connection. Integration, if we are to define it, is defined as the voluntary linking in economic domain of two or more independent states to the extent that authority over key areas of domestic regulations and policies shifted to supranational level, that is international organization. And regional integration is the process of providing common rules, regulations, and policy for any region. Now, most political scientists studying integration have been primarily interested in understanding the institutional and policy dimension of integration, and they have sought to specify the political context in which integration occurs and have provided insightful accounts of process of integration. The critical question then related with integration is which forces drive the process of voluntary integration? Because if there is disagreement between states, we have to examine to see the force that drive this process of voluntary integration. So there are basic three types of so-called definitions, mostly taking into consideration of European Union, and these are not wrong, but fail basic tests of scientific interference. At least they are insufficient. Another critical question related with integration is which force, drive again the voluntary integration. It is said that politicians haunted by the horror of the Second World War were naturally driven to devise a novel structure of European governance capable of eradicating the root of intra-European conflicts. So the first regional integration that we came to know about was the establishment of European Union, but that was limited to Europe alone. Then charismatic leaders managed to transcend the narrow-mindedness and selfishness of domestic pressure groups hostile to integration and European unity, because it is not always easy to go for integration. There must be certain quarters which would always be in opposition to the idea of integration. And third, an ever popular uh, explanation refers to the changed preferences, and that is the timing of a new application for membership. It is claimed is attributable to the pressure from growing segments of society that is desirous of being connected to the larger Euro culture. So, if that explains integration, then what are the types of integration? Because when we say that regional integration promotes peace and development, at various times social scientists have searched for more rigorous explanation of economic and political integrations. In political science, three major analytical framework for understanding integrations are functionalism, new functionalism, and intergovernmentalism. And then custom union theory is important, optimal currency area theory, and the fiscal federalism theory. We will, discuss all these theories in the next class next week. Now I leave the floor to Mavish. Over to you, Mavish.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, you very beautifully explained international organization, functions, animal elements, and different theories. Now I move on to just discuss different organizations and their role in international peacekeeping and building. First of all, I would like to discuss the role of United Nations in peacekeeping and peace building. UN was founded in 1945 after World War II to replace the League of Nations. It contained multiple subsidiary organizations to carry out its mission. So the main purpose of the UN was to prevent disputes from escalating into war and to bring the parties or states to the conference table. So the first mission of United States UN starts from in 1948. In this mission, the United Nations Truth Supervision Organization was sent to the newly created state of Israel, where a conflict between the Israelis and the Arab states over the creation of Israel has just reached a ceasefire. So, the first role played by the UN in peacekeeping is its role in the Arab Israel war. Then its second role comes in the form of the as a mediator, or its role in the to maintain or to keep the peace in relation between Pakistan and India. The UN Department of Peacekeeping Operation was created in 1992 to support his increased demand for such mission. And peacekeeping have taken so many forms, though they have in common the fact that they are designed to be peaceful, that they involve military troops from several countries, and that the troops serve under the authority of the UN Security Council. In 1988, the UN peacekeeping forces were awarded the Nobel Prize for Peace. In addition to the peacekeeping, another functions or other functions are included, which are peacemaking and peace building. For example, since 1990, UN forces have supervised election in many parts of the world, including Nicaragua, Eritrea, and Cambodia, encouraged peace negotiations in El Salvador, Angola, and Western Sahara, and distributed food in Somalia. And UN troops also performed its role in Yugoslavia during the violent and disintegration of that country. And UN also perform its role in if we study or know the current conflict in the Israel, which was in Ramzan. So in that case, UN also adopted resolutions, and an international commission of inquiry was established to know about the cause of that tension, and to uh, find out the reasons of the current situation, or current reason of the current conflict, which was in Ramzan during Palestine issue. Oh, United Nations also play its role in the Arab Spring during in different forms. For example, it offer advice, experts, and financial support for democratic change, constitution writing, and elections. As well as United Nations also perform its role in current situation in Afghanistan, and it's called the international community to extend all possible support to those who may be at risk, and we call on the Taliban to demonstrate through their actions, not just their words, that the fears or the safety of so many people for so many different walks of life are addressed. So United Nations perform its role in different states in different situations. Now we move to the European Union, which was another institution. The European Union identified peace building as one of the priority of its foreign and security policy. The European Union has a long-term commitment to support the people of Afghanistan on their path toward peace, security, and prosperity. Since 2002, the European Union has provided more than £4 billion in development aid to Afghanistan. The current funding cycle for 2014 to 2020 amount to about 1.4 billion of pound. The European Union's support for involvement in the evolution of peace building at the UN reveal best the European Union position to an understanding of peace building. European Union also uh, help or support the UN in peace building process, and it can be exemplified from different events or from different examples, like in the crisis in former Yugoslavia is the seen as the crucial movement that led to enhanced cooperation between the UN and the European Union in the field of post-conflict crisis management. In recent years, though it has become increasingly difficult to find examples of the European Union brokering peace agreements or engaging in classical peacekeeping and enforcement. It is particularly striking that there is no European Union action to be found regarding the major conflicts of our time in Iraq, Syria, Libya, Yemen, Afghanistan, or Southeast Turkey. What is missing is a clear strategy and a set of priorities regarding regions, countries, and sectors. In short, the European Union's role in current situation in brokering of peace agreement is very difficult to find, especially in case of Iraq, Syria, Libya, Yemen, or Afghanistan. So the role of European Union in current situations is becoming very low, or we can say that in the brokering peace agreement, its role is quite decreasing. Now come to the World Bank. The World Bank is involved in several aspects of development in countries around the world, including peace building strategies and practices. They assess peace building strategies and recommend effective and sustainable ways for countries to continue promoting peace and to rebuild after conflict. They also fund peace building initiatives in post conflict countries to ensure future stability, accountability, and rule of law. As we know that the World Bank, through its different funding strategies, also help the developing or the states after conflict to develop and to provide fund or different strategies for their economic development. The World Bank Group consists of the five organizations: These are the 5 organizations which play their role in the World Bank, and through these organizations, they extend loan, interest-free loans, different functions or different services or different chances to the different states to make them economically strong, so that the conflict chances of conflict can be reduced, and they perform their role in peacemaking. So I don't like to discuss the 5 organizations, as I already sent to the class, so I hope say they already read about it. Now come to the North Atlantic Treaty Organizations, NATO. NATO strives to secure a lasting peace in Europe based on common values of individual liberty, democracy, human rights, and the rule of law. Seeing the outbreak of crises and conflicts behind allied borders can jeopardize this objective. The alliances also contribute to peace and stability through crisis management operations and partnerships. Essentially, NATO not only had to defend the territory of its members but also engage where possible and when necessary to project its values further afield, prevent and manage crises, stabilize post-conflict situation, and support reconstructions. Not Atlantic Treaty Organization also play its role in peace building, not only support or work for the member state, but also sometimes extend its services for the states beyond their membership. NATO and the United Nations share a commitment to maintaining international peace and security. The two organizations have been cooperating in this area since the early 1990s. In support of peace support and crisis management operations, the complexity of today's security challenges has required a broader dialogue between NATO and the UN. In the same way, NATO also joined the UN in peacekeeping process because the situation of the current security challenges has required a broader cooperation or dialogue between the NATO and the UN. So, ma'am, it's all completed.
Okay, thank you, Mavish. Mariam, over to you.
Mhm. Good morning, ma'am. Our topic was role of international organization in peace building. So, ma'am has briefly already explained that what is organization, what is international organization, its role in peace building. But I will explain it shortly. The role of international organization, as we all know, is to set certain international agenda and apply certain conflict resolution approaches so that would act as a catalyst for peace building, and they play their role in easing destructive conflict among states, and they have multiple functions they are multiple functions such as providing forum for bargaining like United Nations, Shanghai Cooperation Organization, European Union, as Mavish has explained, ICJ, ICC, World Trade Organization, etc. Now, Mavish has briefly explained UN. I will just, as is the main international body, so I will just touch it. The UN work to prevent conflict, as we all know that, helping parties in conflict to make peace, deploying peacemakers. Like I will want to explain this with the current situation. Like there was a report of Los Angeles Times in which it was on 29th August 2021, recent report, in which it was written that UN is scheduling options for to respond insurgency led by US in Afghanistan, and US has not decided with its peacekeeping members like China and other Muslim countries that are willing to help to prevent civil war by mediating with Taliban in order to de-escalate the tension in the region. So for the region, if you for de-escalate the tension in the region, for creating conditions that allow peace to grow. So, and United Nations has primary and all the responsibility is in the hand of UN Security Council for building international peace and security throughout in the world. And the Peacekeeping Commission is an intergovernmental body, as ma'am has explained, intergovernmental body in detail as well, that supports peace efforts in conflict-affected country, and it is composed of 31 member states and elected from General Assembly, Security Council, and many other important councils. And those countries members are also involved who are economically strong as well. They are also member of United Nations. And the second thing, point which is I also want to highlight, that history shows that peacekeeping missions are effective at preventing conflict, protecting civilians, maintaining peace and security. Like if we see the good thing about UN peacekeeping, is that they are less likely to use weapons and other organization and to kill civilians, and they are and because they have a remarkably successful record of achieving to make peace agreements in the past if we see their history. The second organization which I want to discuss is ICJ, International Court of Justice. No doubt it's an organ body of UN, but still it has a separate standing in the world. United Nations ICJ is the principle, as I said, of UN, and it is established in 1945 as the Charter of UN, and it is located in Hague, as we all know that. So the role of ICJ is to settle a dispute in accordance with, according to the, in the light of international law. All the states from different, all the conflict which arises, dispute arises from between certain states, they come to international ICJ and take their opinion on their question. So ICJ play a very important role in peace building, and I want to explain it with three examples I've quoted here. Like there was a like there was issue. There was an issue between the first problem which I have discussed is alleged violation of 1959 Treaty of Amity, economic relations, consular right between Iran and United Nations. First of all, let me tell about what is Treaty of Amity. Treaty of Amity was signed before Iranian Revolution 1979, and it was signed to solidify Shah position in Iran domestically, advancing UN and political power in Iran. So when President Trump withdrew from this treaty in 2015, President Trump has done peace nuclear deal with Iran, but it just withdraw from that in 2015, joint comprehensive plan of action. So Iran went to ICJ in 2016 for imposition of sanctions by US, and that they have violated they had withdrawn from that treaty of 1955. ICJ ordered that US to, but ICJ has ordered that US to that stop violating nuclear deal, and US to refrain from violating nuclear deal and stop imposing sanctions on humanitarian ground like goods. We have seen that this is very current event that Iran is alleging US for violating treaty. Can you hear me, ma'am?
Yes,
Hello?
you are audible.
Yeah, okay. While मैम ICJ ने डिसीजन दिया कि ये यूएस ये ट्वीटी नहीं विड्रॉ कर सकता और उन पे सेंक्शंस इम्पोज नहीं कर सकता, तो यूएस ने कहा कि हम ये जो ट्वीटी है इससे विड्रॉ करेंगे, ना कि हम ये आईसीजे के डिसीजन को नहीं मानेंगे. तो लेकिन मैम अगर यहाँ देखें तो आईसीजे ने ट्राई किया है कि वो एक रोल प्ले करे पीस बिल्डिंग में, लेकिन अब स्टेट्स पे है कि वो उस डिसीजन को माने या ना माने. سیکنڈ جو ایگزامپل ہے وہ میں یہاں پہ دوسری لینا چاہوں گی, ایک جو قطری اور یونائٹیڈ یو اے ای کے بیچ میں کانفلکٹ تھا, جس کی وجہ سے جو قطری گورنمنٹ ہے وہ آئی سی جے میں اپنا کیس لے کر گئی کہ قطری گورنمنٹ جو ہے یو اے ای نے ان کو کہا کہ ہم آپ سے سارے جو ہیں ڈپلومیٹک جو ہے ریلیشنز کٹ کرتے ہیں کیونکہ آپ کی جو ہے آپ سپورٹ کر رہے ہیں آئسس کو, اور انہوں نے اس پہ کافی امبارگو لگائے, کافی سینکشنز لگائے, تو جس کی وجہ سے قطری گورنمنٹ قطری جو سٹیزن تھے ان کو کافی مسئلہ ہوا, ان کو وہاں سے یو ای کو چھوڑنا پڑا. تو وہ پھر آئی سی جے گئے اپنا کیس لے کر, تو یو ای کے یو ای نے وائلیٹ کیا ہے انٹرنیشنل کنونشن آف ایلیمینیشن آف ریشیل ڈسکریمنیشن کا آرٹیکل 24567. تو آئی سی جے نے قطری کی میں فیور دیا ڈیسیجن. دا رول آف آئی, تو یہاں پہ میں کہنا چاہوں گی دا رول آف آئی سی جے از ویری امپورٹنٹ. Even though it cannot fully improve the relation between Qatar and UAE, but still it took for alternatives so that dispute between UAE and Qatar does not get worse. So here shows that this organization do play a role in peace building. And other case which سب مجھے لگتا ہے اس سے فیملیئر ہو گئے, کلبھوشن یادو کا کیس جو کہ پاکستان میں he was found in many terrorist activities and he was 2016 میں he was announced in Pakistan military court that he to be sentenced. بٹ انڈیا جو نے آئی سی جے چلا گیا 2017 میں, اور کہ پاکستان نے وائلیٹ کیا ہے ویانا کنونشن کا 36 آرٹیکل, جس پہ کہ اس کو اس کے کونسلر رائٹس ملنے چاہیے, جس پہ جو کیس تھا وہ بھی آئی سی جے نے کافی اچھا ڈیسیجن دیا کہ پاکستان کو کہا کہ آپ جو ہے اس کیس کو دوبارہ ریویو کریں, اور انڈیا کو کہا, انڈیا کو بھی کلبھوشن یادو بھی ہینڈ اوور نہیں کیا, نہ کیس فلی ختم کر دیا, بلکہ پاکستان کو کہا آپ اس کو پھر ریویو کریں اس آرٹیکل. اور یہ 36 کا جو آرٹیکل ہے یہ مطلب یہ جو ہے جو وائلیٹ کیا ہے یہ اس کو جو ہے کلبھوشن یادو کو رائٹس آف کنسلٹیشن ملنے چاہیے, اس کے جو رائٹس ہیں وہ اس کو نیشنل فارن اسٹیٹ کے جو رائٹس ہیں وہ ملنے چاہیے. بٹ عمران خان نے بھی اس کو دین ہی لیٹر عمران خان نے کہا کہ ہم آئی سی جے کے ڈیسیجن کو ایکسپریشیٹ کرتے ہیں, رسپیکٹ کرتے ہیں, لیکن پاکستان فاؤنڈ کلبھوشن یادو گلٹی. سو میں یہاں پہ کہنا چاہوں گی کہ اکارڈنگ آئی سی جے کے جو ڈیسیجنز ہوتے ہیں وہ بائنڈنگ ہوتے ہیں پارٹی پہ, اور کوئی اس کو اپیل بھی نہیں کر سکتا. It cannot, this ruling cannot be appealed. But if a country don't accept it, or it cannot do, but it cannot do anything to bind its decision by or their judgment. And there are many examples for it. Like China rejected ICJ's decision on ownership of South China Sea. 2018 US rejected decision on sanction of Iran, جیسے میں نے ابھی آپ کو ایکسپلین کیا ہے. تو یہ یونائٹیڈ یو این سیکورٹی کاؤنسل کا کام ہے کہ کنٹری کو کمپیل کرے ڈیسیجن بائنڈنگ پہ, لیکن زیادہ تر کنٹریز کیا کرتے ہیں جو پرماننٹ ممبرس ہوتے ہیں ان کے ساتھ ویٹو کر لیتے ہیں. تو یہ آئی سی جے کا ایک بہت بڑا رول ہے. جتنے بھی جب بھی اسٹیٹ سے کوئی ڈسپیوٹ ہوتے ہیں وہ آئی سی جے کی طرف جاتے ہیں, لیکن لیکن اس کی جو امپلیمنٹنگ باڈی ہے وہ اتنی اسٹرانگ نہیں ہے, بٹ اس کا کافی اچھا رول ہے پیس بلڈنگ میں. سیکنڈ جو آرگنائزیشن جو میں نے یہاں پہ, یہ ایک ریجنل آرگنائزیشن ہے بیسکلی, شنگھائی کوآپریشن آرگنائزیشن. اس کے کچھ پرماننٹ ممبرس ہیں, as you all know that کچھ اس کے آبزرور اسٹیٹس ہیں اور کچھ اس کے ڈائلاگ پارٹنرس ہیں. یہاں پہ میں ایک اور ایگزامپل کوٹ کرنا چاہوں گی کہ وہ بھی شنگھائی کوآپریشن, جیسے کہ آپ سب کو پتہ ہے لائک افغانستان از فیسنگ سیریس انٹرنیشنل تھریٹ. So they have expressed their readiness to take part in international effort to bring stability in the region. And they have said they want to restore the legitimacy of state power in Afghanistan through inclusive peaceful dialogue, looking into account of that would be interest of all the parties, all the members group, political, ethnic, religious, all, and also express their and why they want to play their role in stabilizing in development, with United Nations playing the central coordinating role. They want to play their role, but with United Nations. So this shows that they also playing a role in building peace in the world. And another example, which is like in 2004 यूक्रेन रेवोल्यूशन आया था, 2003 में जॉर्जिया में रोज रेवोल्यूशन आया था. तो ये जो मेंबर स्टेट्स हैं ये इसको बहुत ज़्यादा सीरियस लेते हैं कि ऐसे सिक्योरिटी एफर्ट्स आए कि ये जो ऐसी जो सिचुएशन हुई है, तो द रेवोल्यूशंस आए हैं, वो दोबारा इन मेंबर स्टेट्स में ना आए, ना अरप्ट हो सकें. तो दैट्स व्हाई दे ऑल्सो, तो ये भी एक तरह का रोल है पीस बिल्डिंग में. और दूसरा, जैसे मैंने भी आपको कहा है कि अभी मैंने ईरान की वो बात की है एग्जाम्पल ICJ की, तो सेकंड जो है यहाँ पे मैं कहना चाहूँगी कि जो अब ये रिसेंटली एक वो हुआ था, क्या कहते हैं, शंघाई का रिसेंटली एनुअल ये 2021 का समिट हुआ था, जिसमें जो ईरानियन प्रेसिडेंट है उसने कहा कि ये जो शंघाई ये एक परमानेंट मेंबर बन गया है. पहले ये ऑब्जर्वर इसकी स्टेटस थी, अब ये परमानेंट मेंबर बन गया है ICJ SCO का. तो वो कह रहा था कि ये जो है सैंक्शन जिसको इतनी प्रॉब्लम्स हो रही हैं यूनाइटेड नेशन की तरफ से, ह्यूमन सैंक्शंस भी लग रही हैं, और तो वो कह रहा था ये जो ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है वो हेल्प कर सकती है इन मेजर फॉर मेजर रीजन हर्डल्स फॉर मेजर रीजन प्रोग्रेस. एंड और वो कहता है कि ईरान ये भी कहता है कि CO मेंबर स्टेट्स को ऐसा स्ट्रक्चर डेवलप करना चाहिए, ऐसा मैकेनिज्म डेवलप करना चाहिए कि वो फाइट करे ऐसे सैंक्शंस को, और जो है वर्ल्ड जो है यूनिलेटरल या मल्टीलेटरिज्म की तरफ जा रहा है. तो CO जो है बहुत ज़्यादा अच्छा प्रोमिनेंट रोल प्ले कर सकता है रीडिस्ट्रीब्यूशन ऑफ पावर टू बेनिफिट इंडिपेंडेंट कंट्री ऑफ शंघाई कॉर्पोरेशन. थर्ड जो ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है वो मैंने यहाँ पे कोट की है, वो WTO है, वर्ल्ड ट्रेड ऑर्गेनाइजेशन. ये भी एक फॉरम है, लेकिन टू ट्रैश आउट यहाँ पे जो कंट्रीज हैं दे ट्रैश आउट देयर डिफरेंसेस ऑन ट्रेड इश्यूज बेसिकली, और हेल्प करती है प्रमोटिंग पीस बाय एलिमिनेटिंग ऑल ट्रेड बैरियर्स. 164 मेंबर्स हैं इसके, और जो 99% ऑफ ट्रेड को स्टेट्स को रिप्रेजेंट करती है, मोस्टली स्टेट्स इसके मेंबर्स हैं. और ये जो डिस्प्यूट सेटलमेंट मैकेनिज्म है, ये इसका प्रिंसिपल है एक, तो इज अ पार्ट ऑफ इट्स प्रिंसिपल. और जो है इसके भी काफ़ी अच्छे रोल है इन बिल्डिंग पीस. जैसे कि एक प्रॉब्लम हुई थी यूरोपीय यूनियन 2016 में. यूरोपीय यूनियन को एक कंसर्न था कि रशिया जो पोर्क है उसके इंपोर्ट पे, तो जो है यूरोपीय यूनियन जो केस है वो WTO में लेकर गया, और WTO ने वर्ल्ड ट्रेड सेंटर ने जो डिसीजन है वो उसका जो रशिया का जो पोर्क की जो इंपोर्ट थी उसको इलीगल करार दिया, और कहा फ्रॉम द कंट्रीज इन द लाइट ऑफ इंटरनेशनल ट्रेड. और सेकंड इसका जो मैंने केस हाईलाइट किया है वो रिसेंटली वी हैव कॉम्प्लेक्स डिस्प्यूट प्रोसीडिंग, यानी कि 14 इयर्स एक केस चला है बिटवीन यूरोपियन यूनियन एंड US ऑन देयर रिस्पेक्टिव एयरक्राफ्ट इंडस्ट्री. यानी कि एक जो US की जो एक अमेरिकन कंट्री है वो बोइंग है, काफ़ी अच्छी है, अमेरिकन कंपनी है जो डिज़ाइन करती है, मैन्युफैक्चर करती है एरोप्लेन्स वर्ल्ड वाइड पे. दूसरी यूरोप की है वो एयरबस है, वो भी मल्टीनेशनल एरोस्पेस कॉरपोरेशन है. और लेकिन जो बोइंग था वो पहले बहुत अच्छा था, लेकिन एयरबस ने उसको उसकी जगह रिप्लेस कर दिया, और वो बन की लार्जेस्ट कंपनी by revenue. تو ٹرمپ نے کیا کیا، اس پہ ٹیرفس لگائے، اور یورپی کنٹریز نے بھی، یورپین پروڈکٹس نے اور یورپین یونین نے بھی ان کے اس پہ ٹیرفس لگائے، تو دونوں کو بڑا نقصان ہوا. تو 2004 میں کیا ہوا، یو ایس جو ورلڈ ٹریڈ آرگنائزیشن کے پاس اپنا یہ کیس لے گیا، جس پہ 15 جون کو جو ہے both reach an understanding related to large civil aircraft, transforming 17 years of dispute at World Trade Organization, and both agree to suspend harmful tariffs 11.5 billion for the period of 5 years. That is in favor of both sides. So this is also an example of peace promoting, peace building in the world through an international organization. Ma'am, that is all from our side.
Thank you, Mariam. Now the floor is open for all of you. If you have any comment over the three presentations, you're welcome.